Check out these air jacks that we're going to be using for our E30 M3 S54 restoration. What's up, guys? My name is Frank from Garageaholic, giving you another episode of the E30 M3 S54. We are about 2 episodes away from the finale, and this is a really cool episode that I want to share with you because it took the most amount of customization in order to get this whole setup installed, and I want to share that with you today. What I want to share with you is one of the coolest installation of air jacks you've ever seen. Here, our 1989 BMW M3, or E30 body style, is lucky enough to have this comprehensive installation that will absolutely kill at car meets. Now, don't confuse air jacks with air ride. This is not a suspension modification or ride height kit. This kit literally jacks up your car on stilts from wherever you are. And we designed this kit to be operated self-sufficiently without any external compressed air. For anyone else serious enough to tackle this project yourself, I will conveniently break this up into 4 major components. The first is mechanical installation of cylinders. The second is tank pump subassembly wiring. The third is wiring, plumbing, and testing. And the fourth is final reveal and demonstration. Before we start the video, please give a like, comment, subscribe to support the channel. Your efforts do not go unnoticed or unappreciated. Furthermore, it helps our channel to grow and produce more cool content that you won't see anywhere else on YouTube. So let's get right into it. This kit was provided by Nuke Performance, and the link is down in the description. This was an entire kit of cylinders, locks, plumbing kit, wiring, harness, tank, and a single pump, but we purchased a second one, and cylindrical installation sleeves for installation. Quality is very high. Communication was top-notch, and reliability thus far is pretty impressive, as you can see later with the results. The mechanical installation of the cylinders was a challenge, divided into 2 technical arenas for the front and the rear. Not only for the chassis install, but also to attach the cylinders to the chassis itself. There were 2 thoughts to this: the plate style or the cylindrical sleeve. In an effort to keep our reliability high, I decided to go with Nuke Performance's option of the cylindrical shell and welded the shells to the modified chassis. The fronts install behind the wheel well inside the fender and peeks through the modified side skirt, allowing for a near seamless hidden installation.
It's funny, right? It's fun. Go ahead. You can let it out. One more time.
The rear was generally easier to hide behind the wheel well once more, but takes up space in the battery tray where the traditional E30 jack kit resides. Once the cylinders were installed, we started testing the vehicle's ride height. Given the maximum displacement of the cylinders, we need to figure out how to have the cylinders mounted low enough to actually lift the vehicle, but tucked up high enough not to interfere with bumps, speed bumps, or just simply become too visually unappealing. Once that was done and plumbed with 8mm air hose all the way to the trunk, it was now on to the tank and pump installation. We acquired a bracket assembly to mount the tank and the air pumps, which we have 2 installed now. The assembly was designed such that all I/O, or inputs outputs, connect easily to the assembled fixture. 8mm air hose, 3/8 air hose for the impact gun, plus 12 volts, switch 12 volts, and ground. The installation includes a pressure sensor that turns the pumps on or off at 180 psi and the heavy-duty solenoids that opens and closes the airflow depending on the position of the rocker switches under the steering console. Wiring was fused at every load: 2 pumps, 2 solenoids, and even the switched power to the pressure switch. All fuses are conveniently located in the back. The solenoids take 2 wires each and ran a data cell wire cable up to the front of the car to connect the switched power and the rocker switches. The switches have safety in mind, with a safety rocker switch that enables power to the second 3-position switch, which then activates either the extend solenoid in the up position or the retract solenoid in the down position. We tested at every single stage to eliminate any guesswork, rework, and later work. All right, so now it's time to bench assembly test this. I really like testing at every stage because I'd hate to have this installed and find that I have a problem with the wiring or the plumbing. So here's how this works. I've got my two solenoids here. This solenoid is connected directly to the tank, so they're both normally closed. When you energize the solenoid, it'll allow air to flow through this T. But if you want to de-energize the system, you got to close this solenoid back up and open this one and it vents to atmosphere. The wiring is set up such that each of the pumps is wired through a fuse to a relay that's controlled through the main switch here. This switch is a switched power switch, so it only operates when you have the key on. Operates these relays, turns on these pumps, starts pumping the system, then the switch normally opens when it hits the pressure, which is about 170 psi. So I've got battery powered to the fuse box, which powers the pumps and the relays. And I've got power basically hooked up to everything, but nothing's turning on. And I think that the reason is because the switch doesn't have its switched power. This here goes to pin 85 on the relay. And this guy, which will have switch power in a second, should turn on the pumps and it should start pressurizing the system. That way I can also check for leaks too. So now it's going to run for a minute or two. I'm going to see what the pressure is in the system. All right, so I filled it up and it kind of stopped around 130 psi. I think that that's because I have a leak somewhere. I've got a couple of them. Got one right there. You can see that bubble is starting to form. The tank is warm. The pumps are really warm. So I got to find out where all these little leaks are. Got a couple of them, you can see. But this has to be perfect. This has to have zero leak whatsoever. So I definitely have to tighten a few things up before I get this thing finished up. All right, I've got everything ready to go. This tank is holding 180 psi with no leaks right now as it is. Everything is closed loop, which means I've got power going to the switch, but the switch is open now because it's hit pressure. I've got the line from the output of this black solenoid hooked up to the car. So, if I apply 12 volts to the solenoid, it should allow the air from the tank to flow through the solenoid and into the car. Right? And then I put power to the pumps. You'll see what I'm talking about. And it'll hit pressure. There we go. Now it's spinning. Okay, that's what it takes. So for the record, I have no clue how I'm going to get that into that by myself, but I'm going to try. We realize that the solenoids need a certain current to operate under 180 psi. Time to fill the tanks is about 3 minutes. Time to fully raise the vehicle takes about 30 seconds to a minute, and we also learned how cool this thing really is.